Hi everyone, my name is Nate Polarize, and I'm here today to show you my second project of the semester, the dual tank pump system. So in this video here, this is kind of just going to show you the basic operation of how you run the pump and drain the tanks. The whole goal of this project was to be able to pump the water out of the bottom tank into the top one and have like a certain set point you're able to want the bottom tank to be set at. And there's also toggle logic controlling both of the pumps, so one will kick on, and then next time the other will kick on. Or if it gets too low, they'll both kick on to try and keep up with demand to keep it as close to that set point as you can. Um, so what I did there at the start, I opened that valve which drained it into the bottom tank, and then it kicked one pump on, and then here I'm draining it again to kick the other pump on, and so you can kind of see the water level there. It's slowly going down with one pump on, and then depending on what the set point is set at, it'll stop at a certain point, and then both pumps will be off. And then there's a high limit and a low limit. So if it gets too low, like say it leaks out or something, but neither pump will be able to start. Or if it gets too high, like right here, what I'm going to do is run the water completely in until it gets high enough to trigger that high alarm, and both pumps will run for a while until it gets low enough to kick off. So there you can see the water's going down faster than it would with one pump, obviously since there's two running. And that's the basic operation of this one, kind of just showing you what it needs to do and how it does it a little bit. So you can't control this completely remotely because you got to be able to have something opening that middle valve there to drain the tanks. So now I got some pictures here. This is just showing the two tanks, the disconnect switch, and the sprayer valve. This next one is just showing the HMI on the front, reset button, e-stop, and the stack light on the top. The next picture is showing the inside, so you can see all the wiring and all the point IO, safety switch, all that kind of stuff in there, all the components. So this here is my electrical drawing. Here you can see that it's my IE2C card, which is my analog input. This next one is my uh, relay output card, and then the last one is my input card. So then down here we got the power circuit for the inside the cabinet with all the devices, point IO, panel view. This one is the power supply on my trainers, and then this is the disconnect switch on my project. Then I got my two frequency drives here with the wiring and parameters. You can see there's some parameter changes, but not a whole lot. Then over here to the right is the safety switch. Now here is the HMI screen for my project. That very first screen is if you're logged in as janitor. You can't really see anything because the janitor's not supposed to be able to mess with your system very much, just kind of see a main screen. So I'll log in as operator so you can actually use and operate the machine. So when you log in as operator, a bunch of stuff pops up that the janitor can't see. You can see the lights in the top right. I hit the e-stop so you can kind of see how that works. The fault light comes on because if you hit the e-stop it faults the dries. And then that second green light was resetting the e-stop. And then obviously I click the start to turn on the machine enable light. And at the bottom right you can see all the buttons for turning the auto, manual off. When I hit auto, it went into both pumps turned on because the water level in the bottom tank was super high. And since the machine enable and auto are on, it kicked both of those on. You can see both pumps are on because they turned green at the bottom middle, and you can see the levels of the tanks changing. There's also numerical values for the tank level at the very bottom. So while that fills up, they'll kick off once it reaches the search and set point, which is on the left side of the screen. And then there I started draining it again, just to kick on one pump, so you can see how it goes much slower and only one pump turns on. So while that is draining, there's a shutdown in the bottom left, which shuts down the whole HMI. There's the log out and log in, obviously to change users. The start and stop are from the Machinable in the top right. There's a reset VFD button to clear the faults. And then obviously all the auto manual off in the bottom right. And in the top left, you have the navigation buttons to get to the different screens. So with this one pump on, it's super slow, and there it finally kicks off. And now I started to drain it again. There we go. So now you can see the other one turns on. And that's because of my toggle logic in the PLC programming, making it so it switches back and forth every time. And then that there is changing the set point. So it will, if it's set to 60, it will turn on at 70 and turn off at 50. If it's set to 50, it'll turn on at 60 and turn off at 40. So it's got a dead band of 10 each way in there. So I hit the E-stop there so you can see the historical alarms that are saved in the thing. It'll show a date, time, and which alarm it is. And then I'll reset those VFD drives and machine enable again. So there, put it in manual mode, and obviously you can't start it if it's not machine enabled. Then if I machine enable, I can manually start the pump. You got the green light to show it's enabled. You got the frequency in hertz. And then you got the starts, how many times it started and stopped, and then you also have the minutes. So I can start each one individually. I can have them both running at the same time, have one running. In manual mode, you can kind of control it however you want. The green light will stay on until obviously it spins down to a complete stop. And that's obviously, so you can switch it from auto and all that stuff in this screen. And then if I go back here, you can change this again, back to 50. And then my other screen is the trend screen. So you can see the trend levels right there. That blue one is the water level. And as I go open the valve, the water level starts rising, and then once it gets to 60, it will turn one pump on. So starts going down very slowly while it speeds up. And you can see it's at 60 hertz there, so it stays level, and then the water level slowly is dropping. Then I open it up more here so you can see the other pump go on. So now you got both pumps running. And then they will both stay on until it gets all the way down to 40. So it's falling. And there, it's about at 40. So it will kick off and they'll both slow down. There we go. They both dropped there. And now if I go back to main menu, and now I'm going to log in as supervisor. So the only thing that a supervisor can do on here that the operator can't is the disable alarm button. So there's a buzzer if it gets way too high or way too low, and that'll just sit there and blare repeatedly if it stays in that value. Thank you everyone for watching, and that is my final project of the year.